Okay, let's dive right into this explainer and untangle how a Bronze Age agricultural deity ended up at the absolute center of a modern internet controversy. We're going to look at one of the most fascinating cases of historical telephone ever recorded, bridging ancient mythology, medieval demonology, and modern algorithms. If you were online in early 2026, you almost certainly saw the viral frenzy surrounding the United States Department of Justice's release of the Epstein files. Amidst the millions of pages of legal documents and flight logs, internet sleuths found something genuinely baffling: the word Baal. Almost immediately, theories just exploded everywhere, linking the disgraced financier to ancient occult worship. But the actual evidence points to something completely different, and honestly much more interesting, about how human history is recorded and perceived. To make sense of this epic story, we'll quickly unpack the modern conspiracy, the psychology of the shadow, the ancient reality, megaliths and kings, the historical demonization, and finally, the source documentation. Part 1. The modern conspiracy. Let's look objectively at the facts surrounding the 2026 DOJ files. We're not taking any political sides here, we're just impartially looking at what the actual documents show us. And it turns out the truth behind those viral internet rumors comes down entirely to technology. When you digitize millions of pages of old financial records, computers use optical character recognition, or OCR, to read the text. Well, in at least one widely circulated example, a scanning artifact simply misread the standard field bank name on a financial document, and it spit out Baal name. That's literally it. A technological glitch, a smudge on a page, suddenly transformed a mundane banking form into supposed evidence of an ancient cult. This OCR glitch builds on other massive misconceptions from those files. The internet was completely convinced there was a secret client list, but impartial investigations, including a July 2025 DOJ memo, confirmed no such blackmail list ever existed. The famous Black Book, compiled by Ghislaine Maxwell, was essentially just a giant Rolodex. It didn't just contain celebrities and politicians, it included their gardeners, hairdressers, and electricians. Basically, every time they met someone, they got added to this sprawling phone directory. But people didn't want a boring phone book, they wanted a sinister plot. Part 2. Psychology of the shadow. So why did the internet latch onto the word Baal so intensely? For that, we turn to Carl Jung. Jung argued that humans possess the shadow, the unintegrated, often darker elements of our own personalities that we completely deny or disown. When we encounter complex, chaotic, or horrifying events in the real world, it's psychologically overwhelming. To cope with that, we project our own internal shadow onto external events. We desperately look for clear-cut monsters and ancient demons to explain the chaos, because fighting a mythological evil just feels so much easier to grasp than facing mundane, systemic human corruption. Humanity has always sought divine champions to maintain cosmic order and defeat chaos. Take the ancient Egyptian deity Ma'at, representing eternal cosmic order and justice, or the Chinese Shan Tian Shang Ti, who maintained moral law. We crave order. And what's incredibly ironic here is that fighting chaos and maintaining order was precisely Baal's original role in the ancient world. Part 3. The ancient reality. Let's leave the internet behind and travel back to 1400 BCE, to the city of Ugarit in modern-day Syria, to uncover the authentic Canaanite storm god, Hadad. Discovered in the 1920s by French archaeologists, the Baal Cycle is an absolute masterpiece of Canaanite literature inscribed on clay tablets. And far from being a figure of evil, the Ugaritic texts show us a deity who is deeply beloved. He was the champion of fertility, weather, and the changing seasons, literally the absolute lifeline for an agricultural society in the Near East. The narrative of the Baal Cycle is this beautiful, dramatic metaphor for the agricultural seasons. First, Baal defeats Yam, the god of the chaotic sea and devastating floods. Then, he builds a majestic palace, symbolizing his kingship. But then comes the brutal summer drought, represented by Mot, the god of death, who actually kills Baal. The earth dries up. Finally, the warrior goddess Enat violently defeats Mot, grinding him up like grain, which allows Baal to resurrect. His victory brings the life-giving spring rains. He was the hero of the story. And the archaeological evidence backs this up perfectly. Check out the famous 1932 Baal with Thunderbolt stele. It depicts Baal wielding a mace in one hand, but in the other, he holds a spear shaped like a lightning bolt that actually blossoms into a cultivated plant pointing toward the earth.
It's a stunning visual metaphor. The terrifying power of the thunderstorm is exactly what brings vital agricultural nutrition to the soil.
Part 4. The Megaliths and Kings. The reverence for this life-giving deity was so immense that his worship spread far beyond Ugarit.
Just look at the sheer scale of this devotion. The Temple of Jupiter Baal in Baalbek features base megaliths in its foundation, weighing up to 800 tons each. Let that sink in. 800 tons! This was a Roman adaptation of a Canaanite holy site, and the lifting and placing of these massive limestone blocks with such machine-like precision still defies conventional engineering explanations today.
Moving across the Mediterranean, the Carthaginians in North Africa worshipped him as Baal Hammon. Here, he wasn't just a storm god. He was the supreme deity, the absolute king of the gods. Depicted as a majestic older man adorned with a crown and curling ram's horns, he ensured the prosperity and harvest of their entire empire and was even later syncretized with the Roman god Saturn.
Part 5. The Historical Demonization. So, how on earth did this beloved champion of crops and rain become the literal devil in Western culture?
It happened through a fascinating process called semantic inversion, driven by rival religions. Think of it as ancient, high-stakes trash talk. In the Philistine city of Ekron, the local deity was known as Baal-zebul, which translates to Prince Baal or Lord of the High House. But rival Hebrew scribes used satirical linguistic manipulation to alter his title. They changed just one letter, turning Baal-zebul into Baal-zebub, which translates to Lord of the Flies. They took a majestic cosmic sovereign and warped his name into a derogatory insult about filth and pestilence.
Look at this tragic semantic devolution over 3 millennia. In 1400 BCE, he's the heroic fertility god. By the Iron Age, in 2 Kings, he's a mocked foreign god. Fast forward to the 1st century CE, in Matthew chapter 12, the name is shifted to Beelzebub, and he's explicitly called the Prince of the Devils. And by 1667, in John Milton's Paradise Lost, he's a fallen angel, second only to Satan. A local deity was systematically transformed into a cosmic enemy. Part 6. Documenting the sources. To ensure we're dealing with historical facts here, let's explicitly catalog the literary and occult sources that cemented this transformation.
We can literally track the exact paperwork of his downfall. From the Hebrew Bible, where he's just a foreign idol, to the late antiquity testaments of Solomon, where he's suddenly a prince of demons causing war. By the time we hit medieval occult grimoires like the Dictionnaire Infernal, he's layered with new sins like gluttony. His Bronze Age origins as a hero of the spring rain were completely erased by centuries of rival theology.
If you take away just one thing from this explainer, let it be this. Historical religious conflicts often negotiate power simply by turning a neighbor's god into a monster. It's a total semantic inversion, from god to demon. We didn't just forget who Baal was. Humanity actively rewrote him to serve as the antagonist in our own new stories.
Which brings us right back to those DOJ files, leaving us with a really profound question. We started with an OCR scanner literally misreading bank name as Baal. If a 3,000-year-old satirical spelling joke can survive to fuel modern internet theories, even inspiring modern geopolitical effigy burnings of supposed demons today, are we really uncovering modern occult networks? Or are we just using high-speed algorithms to project humanity's oldest unintegrated fears onto the shadows? Keep questioning what you see.